What do you think our generation needs the most right now?
I think our generation needs a lot of encouragement, especially whenever you get to high school and there's a lot of like negative things. I think encouragement really helps your mindset and your mental health.
Because people just want to be accepted and fit in, so they're going to do anything to be accepted and fit in.
Yeah, I agree. I think love, life is hard, growing up is hard. I think there's a lot of hate in the world, and people are mean, and kids are confused. They don't know their identity, and I think that they just want to feel loved, so they will do anything to feel loved. And I think they just need to know that they are loved by somebody and by God. So yeah.
It always just helps to give somebody a smile, especially during the day, and just let them know that you see them.
Kindness, for sure.
Because a lot of people like act out because they want attention. And if you just make sure that you be like, hey, I'm here, like they will be like, oh, so people do see me. So that's just attention.
I think it's important that like our generation needs that role model to look after. Because I mean, I know like whenever I was struggling, I had to like look at the people who are like pastors at our church to help me get better on the right path and just support me along the way.
Yeah. I think for like kids, especially in high school and younger, like having that one person that they can like reach out to and like talk to and call and text, and like, and that person being there for them, like no matter what it is, like you can always come to me and ask me for help or guidance, and like I'll always help you. Like I had many of those people growing up and like throughout my high school, and like I still talk to them like to this day because like they helped me so much throughout life and growing up and getting through high school and college. Yeah. Some people say we're super adaptable, but also that we can be kind of scared about the future. Do you think that's true? Does that match what you've seen?
I think everybody's scared about the future, honestly.
Because it can be just really overwhelming to think about. You're like, oh, I still have a whole life ahead of me. And then it just causes panic in people. And they don't know what to do.
I definitely agree with that. And especially in like kids, like your age, my age. I mean, I'm 23, but I would still say like we try to plan out our future and like what we want to do in life. And, you know, like they say you have to like know what you want to be when you're 18. Like you need to go to like you go to college thinking that you want to be a nurse or a doctor, and like that's not it. Like you can try to plan out your future, but it's never going to go as planned.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the adaptable part, I mean, like since we're dealing with like school, I feel like it's easy to be adaptable, but sometimes when accepting a new idea, such as like God, it's hard to be adaptable if you're like never dealt with him before. And I think like to connect it to our last question about having that role model, that I feel like if we are a role model, then it better help someone adapt to learning about God, even if they are scared.
I agree. I think adapting to just change overall is hard. I mean, change is hard, you know?
Yeah.
But I would say like our generation is adaptable. I mean, for the most part, I would say, yeah. There's a lot of new technology and like new things to learn, and like
they handle it well.
Yeah. And it's normal to be scared. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay,
because you can be scared. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You can be scared, but like that doesn't mean you have to stop trying to like adapt to it. Like, yeah, change, and you can be scared, but it's never going to get better if you don't at least try.
Yeah. Okay.
And like to go on to that, I mean, my favorite piece of scripture is Proverbs 3:5-6, and it just says, like, submit to God and he will make your path straight. And I think like whenever you're scared, if you know that verse, that you can walk into anything and he will have that path straight for you.
If you surrender it all to him and just like, get it
I agree.
Because he has a bigger plan that we just don't know, and we just gotta trust that he has that plan. Even way back in ancient Greece, adults had a lot to say about the youth of their time. Why do you think there's always been this tension between younger and older generations?
I think it's because older generations have the way they like to do things, and we have a new way, and it's hard to like see eye to eye on those things.
I definitely agree with that.
Because I feel like there can be old traditions, old like
things that we might not agree with, but they still agree with, and it's hard.
I think like the older have lived through it, and that has changed their like values or like how they look at things, whereas like we're experiencing it for the first time.
And sometimes they were just raised that way, so it feels wrong for them to be any other way.
I also feel like they didn't have like the social media. Like they didn't have like, you know, like the images that these people are putting off online. Like they didn't have to like, they got up every day, did the same routine every day, and like that was their life. Like they didn't have to like,
I feel like
try to fit in or like, you know, like face hard relationships and like go to school with mean people. Like,
and
I mean, they did, but like it wasn't like how it is now.
Yeah. And the stress has just been so much worse in social media because like you see a post of your friends out somewhere without you and then instantly stressed. Or just
You
back
go
when
into a
they
little
were
spiral.
Yep, back whenever they were younger, they would have no idea if that happened, and then therefore they wouldn't be as like scared or stressed. So I feel like they're just not used to the new way.
And I feel like socials just put on like, I don't know how to word this, but they like make you want to live up to this like high extent and like be someone you're not. And like they didn't have to worry about that back then.
And that kind of goes back to like the role model thing. You got to be careful who you choose to role model because you can become obsessive over it, especially if it's like the wrong thing. You just
make sure
want
you
to
have, like
be
the right person, the good.
I also like wrote down something. I said that the older has like lived through different times and challenges, so their like views and values might not always align with the way of like how the youth does things now.
Yeah.
And like I think we talked about that, but I don't know. That was a hard question.
I just feel like we have a lot. They had a lot more issues than us. I mean, we have the issues from like social media and stuff, but I feel like sometimes we're like harder for them. Because I mean, now we have like so many more opportunities that stuff just comes more easy.
I think we have a lot more distractions than they did. Like, just social media, huge distraction.
How do you think technology is changing the way people see us and the way we experience the world?
That's kind of like how we were just talking about.
We were just talking about this.
We worked ahead.
I think with socials, we're more connected now than ever, but to an extent, like, obviously, I think it has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
But I think that it also comes with, like, a lot of comparison. I mean, like, you see what your friends are doing or what this person wears or what this person drives or
There's always
where
like
they travel. And, like, no, you're fine.
There's always a strive to be better than someone else. Like, you see someone, you're like, oh, I want to be like that. But so there's not a lot of individuality. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah. And I feel like social media takes our focus away because like Pastor Prestons said in Deuteronomy 6, it says like love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind and everything. And when you like idolize social media and worrying about this and your Snapchat and like your TikTok and everything, you're not idolizing God the way you should be. And I feel like that's a big distraction.
I know from like myself, in the morning, I won't wake up and my first thought won't be, oh, I got to go read my Bible. My first thought is, I wonder who snapped me back.
Yeah.
Like, what did my friends post yesterday? Like, it's never, oh, I got to go spend time with God. And that's not great.
No, but it's a habit and a struggle that everybody has.
Yeah, I feel like it's really taken a toll on our generation because, I mean, like earlier we were talking about how you can see the post of your friends doing something. And like, since we're in high school or college or just being young adult, you can see your friends going out and like partying and doing all that stuff. And that makes you want to do that.
Right.
And take your focus away from God.
You don't want to idolize your friends over God. Because I know, like, I've struggled with that. Like, I'm like, oh, I need to go to Wednesday night church tonight. But I'm like, well, my friends are doing this. And one time,
I'd rather fit in with them than I'd rather make
I have such a fear of, like, being left out. So, like, I'm just like, I mean, it's only one time, it's fine. But really, you're just going to keep saying that, and it's not fine.
You're going to go down a big old spiral and lose God in the way.
It's a domino effect.
I definitely think it's, like, reshaping everything from how we learn, talk, communicate, view others. You know, like, there's often, like, people hide behind their cell phones, you know, like, say mean things behind their phones that they would never say to someone in person.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've experienced that, like, recently, within the past 2 weeks, like, just in our area, like, there's been, like, suicides with, like, little kids, like, 10 to 13 years old. Like, that's, like, unheard of.
Sad. I know.
And it's so sad. And
it breaks my heart.
kids and
it's things that
social
are all
media.
said online.
Yes.
It always happens online.
And half the time, the people that say that stuff online would not go up to you and actually say it to your face.
Right.
Because, like you said, they hide behind a phone. I think that was you that said that. Well, I think social media, again, is a big part of that because, like, I don't know. And I feel like teenagers are so much more judgmental. They're not accepting. So, like, if you don't, like, you feel like if you don't go out and do that, they're going to be like, oh,
They're not going to
like,
accept you.
they'll judge you. They like, it can be irrational at times, but you don't want to be hated. That's the, like, what's the word?
I just
the
feel like
middle of it.
our generation has a fear of missing out,
Yeah.
whereas the older, they like, I don't know, like that didn't matter to them.
Yeah.
You know?
It wasn't one of their priorities.
Exactly. And like they didn't know what their neighbor was doing because they didn't have social media and they weren't blasting what they were doing on socials. Okay.
Wait.
Oh, no, wait,
We
hold
have to
on.
say
3,
that?
2, 1. That's deep dive clap.
Okay. Ready? 3,
2,
1.
1.
That's deep dive.